I think the trust fall is quite impressive. I would like my first graders to come right here. First graders, let's hear from my first graders. Woo-hoo! My second graders, I want you to come right here. Right here. My third graders. Right there, right there. My fourth and fifth graders, right here, right here. All right, bottoms down. I need to see your faces. This face, oh, I couldn't see your face from all the way around. Now, I told you that today we were going to be talking about a girl. Now, I gotta tell you, girls, in the Bible, they didn't talk about it very much. There's like a lot about boys, but there really wasn't a lot about girls. Now, this girl had so much courage. She had so much courage. She had to take the biggest risk. You see, there was a king. His name was Caesar. And now this king had this party. And this party lasted for 180 days. I want you to think back to, raise your hand if you can remember when Halloween was. Okay, now I want you to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 days before Halloween. You got that day in your head? Was that a long time ago? Okay, now King Xerxes, I got to tell you what he did. He threw a party. And his party lasted, if it ended today, it started 6 days before Halloween. That's how long his party lasted. It was a really, really long party. And he had it for just like his important people. And he had a feast for just the boys. And then his queen, Vashti, she had a feast for just the girls, who were like the important ones, that were in the palace and, all that kind of stuff. And then at the end of their 180-day feast, he said, you know what? I think everybody should get to have a feast. And their feast can last for 7 days. Can you show me 7 fingers? 7. Theirs can last for 7 days. So all the peasants, they got to have a feast that lasted for 7 days. So while King Xerxes was having this great party, he decided that he would like Queen Vashti to come and visit with him. So he sent one of his noblemen to go get Queen Vashti. Now, you couldn't visit with the king unless the king asked you to come and visit with you. So he asked Queen Vashti, will you come and visit with me? Now, when the king made a law, or when the king said do this, here's the deal. You had to do it. You absolutely had to do it. But Vashti, who is the queen, was supposed to say, what do you think she was supposed to say when the king said, come on? What was she supposed to say? Yes. She was supposed to say yes. But Queen Vashti said no. She said no. She said, I'm not going to. I'm not going to see the king. Well, the king got real mad and said, well, if the queen can tell me no, then that means that all of the other girls would be able to tell their husbands no too. That would be a problem in the land. We can't have that. So we're going to make a law that says wives have to say yes to their husband. They can't say no. And Vashti, for punishment, is never allowed to come and see the king again, and she was no longer single. And so King Xerxes says, I don't have a queen, I need to get a new queen, but my queen has to be beautiful. The most beautiful. So he started sending out word that said, I want all the girls to come. And I'm going to kind of check them out. I'm going to see if I think they're pretty enough. And if, I kind of like them. And so he checked them all out and he picked some. And they moved into the palace. And then they had to get ready for a whole year. A whole year. They had to, put stuff in their hair, make your hair all something. I mean, I don't know what it takes to make your hair do something for a year, but that's how long it took. They had to put, lotions and smell-good stuff on. I mean, they had to spend a long time. I mean, that's a long time to get ready for a party. A year. Well, that's what they did. So they have to get ready all of this time. And then he picked. And he picked Esther. Now, this was very important because Esther is Jewish. Now, King Xerxes was not Jewish, but Esther was Jewish. She was one of God's chosen people. And her cousin, Mordecai, was who raised her. She didn't have a mom and dad. Her cousin Mordecai raised her. So, he would come by the palace gate and he would visit King Xerxes. He had this guy who worked for him. His name was Haman. He thought he should be the most important guy. So he made laws, said you had to bow to him because he represented the king. Well, Mordecai said, forget it. I'm not bowing. I'm not bowing to Haman. He's not God. I'm only going to bow to God. I will only worship God. I'm not going to do that. Well, Haman, he got all kinds of agitated. So he goes back to the king and he tells the king, he says, there's people out there that are disrespectful. They will not bow to me, which means they're not bowing to you. They are totally disrespecting you, and I think that we should punish them. Well, the king says, sure, I think that's fine. So, it says 1 year from that day, since Mordecai was Jewish, that they would kill all of the Jewish people. Every one of them. Well, who was Jewish? Esther. His queen was Jewish, but he didn't know. He didn't know that she was Jewish. So then, Mordecai, he gets so upset, he rips his clothes, he puts on ugly clothes, and then he takes soot, like ashes, and he just makes a mess all over himself. And that's what they did in Bible times, to say, I'm really sad, they made themselves look terrible. And so that's what he did. So he'd come and visit Esther, and he'd walk by the palace gate, and she'd be trying to give him clothes, saying you gotta clean yourself up. You need to look a little better. She's like, no, I can't. Do you know how bad this is? They're going to kill us in a year. Everybody, we're going to be dead. You, me, everybody, all the Jewish people. That's it. We're going to be gone. We've got to do something about this, Esther. She's like, I can't do anything about it because if you went and talked to the king without the king inviting you to talk to him, guess what the king did? That's your name. Yeah, you couldn't just walk up and talk to the king. But if the king was in a really good mood that day, he took his scepter and he would go like this, and then that meant that he was safe. Well, Esther got all of her courage out. All of it. She said, I'm going to go talk to the king. So she went, she talked to the king. She invited him to come to dinner. And he come to dinner. He extended his scepter, so she waited for him. He said, yeah, I'd love it. So at the end of the dinner was so great. He was like, whatever you want, I'll give you up to half my dinner. He said, would you come to dinner with me again? Yeah, I will. And so, he came to dinner again. And then, he said, with you up to half my kingdom. I'll give you up to half of everything that I have. What? She wants. What? She wants. What will come when you kill me? You say that? She said, whatever punishment they were going to give to their people, that will be their punishment. So, Haman was going to kill all of the Jewish people. Well, if that was the punishment that he just dished out, and the king said, whoever was going to do this, that's their punishment. Who's going to get that punishment now? Haman. Haman's going to get that punishment because Haman's the one that said this is what should happen. The king was like, absolutely not. That cannot happen to you because the queen wasn't going to let the queen die. Well, who was sitting right there at dinner? Haman. Did Haman know he was in big trouble? Did it take a lot of courage for Esther to say that? Yeah. Esther had so much courage, she saved all of the Jewish people. She knew that God was with her when she had to say what was right, even though it was real hard. Really hard. Did God protect her and give her